Real quick one today. This is yesterday's trade of the 25th of June. We were bullish on the day. We were waiting for a sweep of the sell side, some sort of drop below 830 open, and that way would start to look for longs. Just saying exactly what I was looking for. You know, the bullish bias, the trend day condition, buying below 830 is ideal. I'm not going to try and go short. So I watch 930 as it starts running up, and I'm not bothered with it. I start to think, you know, I'm just going to let it do its Judas swing. Hopefully it will start to come down to the 830 open. I can find my long. So we've got it running up here. I do end up taking a short on demo, which happens to be the only trade that actually played out yesterday. But what you'll see with this is my bias for the day was wrong. I thought it was a trending up day condition. I thought the bias was bullish, and every single time I got into a long, it ended up stopping me out because the overall draw was lower. So I write this: markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent, because, you know, markets just running up at 930 like this, it's going to make you think, oh, I want to take a long, but no, it's going to fake you out 100% every time. So I take this demo short on the breaker, and I take it down to the sell side. Now, I do wish I took this trade on my account, but the thing is I stuck to my bias, I stuck to my plan, and I followed my rules. So had I taken this trade, I would have actually been a less profitable long-term trader, you know. So this is the first real long that we take. This is a long off of an inversion for value gap and a reclaimed buy side imbalance after going below 830 open and sweeping that sell side. There was also an SMT. Clean trade. I would take it any day of the week. Only thing is that there was news coming up at 10 o'clock. So you can see here what I do is I mark out the buy side imbalance below, and I'm just watching the order flow right before 10 o'clock, because if that order flow ends up being bearish, then I'm taking it off manually so that I don't get stopped. And that's exactly what I do here. I managed to save myself quite a bit of my stop loss. So I'm watching the midpoint of that lower gap now. Don't like that close. Once it closes below that, I take it off. I've only lost 30 bucks. So now we wait, right? I know that I'm in a tight range. It's range bound. There we go. Then I write time to engage, because we've dropped below sell side liquidity again. If anything comes up that's bullish here, I'm looking at that as a potential breaker forming. And here's a bit of a mistake I make. I end up looking at the 30-second here, and I take this inversion fair value gap on the 30-second. Now, it's a good trade, but that breaker, that 1 minute breaker, if it got above there, would have been way better, because that 30-second might look bullish, but on the 1 minute, doesn't look like anything's happened. And inevitably, it tinkers around for a bit, messes with our heads, and then we get stopped out. There was still no tilt for me with this. You know, this is my second trade. It all made sense. You know, I felt comfortable. My maximum risk was 200. I only lost 150 before I stopped for the day. So honestly, it's like a 9 out of 10 day for me. Even if it was a loss, I followed my rules. There we go, we get stopped. And now just here, I take this one last trade, 15-second inversion off with 1 micro. And it's simply just because of that wick right there. You know, I was still bullish, and I knew that I'd only really be risking like 20 bucks. So, you know, if this got stopped, it'd be my last trade. So it wasn't even an emotionally driven trade. Ideally, you only want to take 2 losses, but because I was down to just 1 micro, I didn't really mind taking this. The only hit it's going to take is on my win rate, and that it did. But yeah, it runs up, and you can see every single time I've taken a long off of a bullish PD array after sweep of sell side, it runs up for a bit and then it immediately comes back down. And what that is just my bias was wrong. You know, my bias was wrong, so the overall draw was lower. Every time it ran up, it would come straight back down. Anyway, that happens, right? How do I rate the day? 9 out of 10. Didn't do anything wrong. I had an incorrect bias, and that's going to happen sometimes.